What's good, YouTube? Yeah, that feels weird. That was troll. So, welcome back. Market Watch Monday, and do we have a lot of volatility in the market for the One Piece TCG trading card game? Let's get talking about it. I got so many tabs open, Jesus. So we're gonna try to go through them as fast as possible. Starting off with the box. Box is now 130. I think we were talking about it last week, and when we were talking about it, it was $115. So it has substantially gone up in price. I think on release, man, there's just no product. It's just if you didn't pre-order anything, man, look at this. At some point, these were selling at like $200. We've somehow stabilized all the way down here to the 120 range. If we can look at the sale history, did anyone even buy it for 200 bucks? There's just been so many sales since the game came out that it's like, no, it seems like people were just posting it there as a meme. No, it just didn't happen. Yeah, no. So definitely the box is maintaining value, 140 range, 120 range. It's kind of crazy, but hopefully you can get it from your local game store for a little bit cheaper. I know I was able to get one box for $100, which seems like an absolute ton of money for what it is. But yes, definitely the singles market, I believe, is where it's at. If you're going to be planning on playing this game competitively, I'm going to push singles as much as possible because it allows you to get the specific cards you want for those $100. Instead of playing the lottery and trying to hit the shanks, you can probably hit the cards you need for your deck. But it's always nice to try to pull those big number cards. Speaking about those big number cards, we have shanks, $600 right now on TCG Player. Yikes. So I saw this card go down from $2,000 to $1,000 to $600, and when is the floor for this card? I mean, there's just so much product being opened. It feels like this card comes in one in every 3 cases, once every 4, once every 5. It's pretty easy to pull. Easy to pull. For those people that are really looking for it, I'm sure you'll be able to get your hands on it. If you don't want to go ahead and, if you're just looking for this and you'd rather not buy the case, you can guarantee it for half the price of a case to get your shanks. It's really great for collectors, really great for that market. Once again, it's still a fantastic chase card. I do believe this card, it could go just a little bit lower. I don't think it'll go much lower than 600. Maybe it'll touch the 5. That's pushing it a lot. Again, no financial advice from me. This card might hit the 5 range, 450 at the lowest. Stabilize when there's no more product. And I can see this card going up in the future, in future sets, as we have limited amounts of shanks available to go up and up and up, and then collecting value over the game's course. If the game continues to thrive and be fantastic and blah, 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 this card can go right back to its original values. I see a lot of people PSA grading their shanks. I would too. This is a beautiful card. I have seen it in person, and I haven't been lucky enough to pull even a regular shanks, but it is a very nice looking card. And if you do have it, I recommend you keeping it. If you want it, this is not a bad price, and you can probably maybe even haggle a little bit lower. So seeing this card at 600 is very good for the game. Pretty healthy for collectors, pretty healthy for those that just want to get access to it. And it really kind of like makes it so that the market isn't just about making money off of these boxes. It's about, helping the community that really wants these cards to have access to them. So I'm really happy to see this card at 600, although I do think he can go a little bit lower. This is still a little too high for me. The Nami. Yeah, this card's $130. Yeah, there are not that many listings either. I think we have a total here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 listings for 130, and then it just jumps up to the 150s and so on and so forth. This card just jumps and jumps and jumps. It's not just a good looking card. It is low printed. I very rarely see people open this card. It's even people that open an entire case might not even see their Namis, and it is one of the best cards in the game. It is a Straw Hat character type card. It is going to be good for multiple sets. I can see this card hovering the $100, $120 range for a very, very long time, unless anything comes in that power creeps this card, and I really hope we don't get there anytime soon. This card is going to be an absolute staple, and even for collectors, this card is going to hold fantastic value because it is a hard to get card, and it's honestly stunning in person. The texture that it has, Bandai did a fantastic job. So I can see this card, it's at 130 right now. I do see it holding value at the 100 to 120 range over the foreseeable future. So if you want to get them, you won't really lose money on your investments. This card is just an asset. If you want to play it, you can play it. But remember, as more you play the card, the more lightly played it becomes. The more lightly played it becomes, the less value it has. So if you just want to own the card, I don't think 130 is terrible. I think you can even haggle it down to 115. And at 115, I think this card is pretty fair. Moving forward, we have the Zoro leaders. So now we finally start getting these alt art prices that we didn't have last week. I was not expecting this card to be $72. I've seen this card jump anywhere from the 80s to the 70s. This card's all over the place, selling at 85, close to $90 here. Jesus, man. We know that he's a good character now. We expect him to be a good character in the future. As we saw in the East, it became almost the #1 deck. So even if you get this card, even though it seems high, I do think because of the fact you get 4 alt-art leaders per case, this might hold value at this price. I think this is not a terrible price for the card. I do think he's worth, in my brain, $50 to $60. $50 to $60 is where I see this card landing. So let's just average that out at $55. So if you can get this card at anywhere between $55 to $60, you're doing good for yourself. But this card holding that price tag is very, very possible. And not only is it a good deck now, it is a better deck in the future. And as more and more support comes out for aggressive red cards, this card has no ceiling. It just continues to get good. And unless they power creep it, which again, I really hope they don't do in the foreseeable future, this card's a monster. So with that being said, guys, if you can get them for $55, $60, you're happy with it. But everything here is $70. It jumps up to 80 after just 5 listings, and so on and so forth. Very, very good card. There isn't a crazy amount of product out there. There's going to be second waves coming out, which might dip the price a bit more, but I don't see it dipping much further in the foreseeable future. Maybe later on in March when we get the second wave. But yeah, definitely hold on to Zoro's Law. This card is volatile. If it continues to do well, which I expect it to do well, it can go even higher. You can touch the Zoro. As Zoro and Law start seeing competitive tournaments, depending on how they do in those tournaments, they're both very competitive decks in my opinion. They can either go up or down. But I do see any competitive leader will hit the $55 to $60 mark every single time. This card being $60, you can probably try to haggle because of just the nature of haggling cards. You can maybe haggle this down to $45, $50. Cash, if you find someone that has it or wants it. This card has been extremely volatile, starting at exactly $25 and then just skyrocketing. So many cards were just undervalued on the first couple days that if you were able to get your hands on them, you're a monster. Law is a fantastic leader, not now, not in the future. When the film cards come out, this just keeps getting better and better and better. So I do see it just like Zoro. If it's $75, yep, it's $75. It's just the way it is. But right now, it's a little undervalued for what it is. You might be able to even haggle this further. It's just tough, man. 4 alt-art leaders per case, not guaranteed any of the ones that you want. Makes things super, super difficult to get. And now talking about the second waifu card of the set, Boa Hancock. An amazing card. Oh my goodness. This card in the Doflamingo deck, in any mono blue deck, or any deck that plays blue as a secondary color, she's a monster. Drawing 1 when you're at 4 on defense, on swing, just allows you to maintain so much advantage. In a game where there's very little draw power, blue has Love Beam. It has access to Boa, so you can Boa block, draw card, Love Beam, draw card. And as you're setting it up with Flamingo, I'm talking about, you can do some crazy things with blue, guys. I think the Flamingo deck was very, very undervalued, very underthought of. People are just excited to see Straw Hats and main character energy. No, man, there's so many good cards in this set that people haven't explored. And I do expect, just like the tier list said, blue is a monster. Every time I've played against it, it feels like I'm in an uphill battle. And they're just playing 5 turns ahead of me just because they played 1 Perona. Deck is absolutely crazy. And Boa Hancock allows that craziness to happen. And other than that, the card is a beautiful, very hard to pull. Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Good effect. And it's an absolute staple for almost every blue deck. It goes right from 60, jumps up to 65 on just a couple of sales. And then from 65 to 70, 75 to 80. We could start seeing more and more buyouts. This card did come out at a much higher price than it is right now, which is $70. And now it's stabilized at 60, but that's only one person. As soon as this person gets bought out, these two, it just starts jumping up. So I can see a lot of volatility with this card, maybe hitting the 75 range. The blue deck, I expect to do better and better in tournaments. Flamingo, Boa, to the moon, to the absolute moon. This can start seeing some Nami level pricings at 80s to 90s, in my opinion. But once again, since it's 60 now, maybe you can haggle it for a little bit less. Nothing to be said about this guy. This card is terrorizing the game right now. It's so freaking good, man. 3-drop 5k rush at $80. I was able to pick these up at 60s, 55s. PogChamp. This card is amazing. It's bought out. There are just no listings. It's just $80. If these two get bought out, They can be whatever they want to be. I see this card just like Nami, an absolute staple for the Straw Hats, main character, beloved character, an absolute monster of a character. I don't even know what to say. This card can see $100 to $120 easily. And the art is, if you've seen this in person, you can understand why I snapped and got 4 of them instantly. They're so crazy. This card looks like it's rushing. Like, this is a rush card. But yes, 80 bucks. I don't think it's undervalued at 80. These are, at the end of the day, this is cardboard, guys. Like, it's hard for me to say, like, yeah, this is $150. No. But I can see this card going from 100 to 120, just like the Nami. If you can get it for anything cheaper than 70 bucks, and you're doing great. This card is an absolute monster. For collectors, for competitive players, it really does it all. And we got Altart Shanks. How is this card 40 bucks? Anyone? This card came out at like 75, and it's just now consistently 40. Shanks itself is like a $15 card. I think those cards are criminally undervalued. They are secrets. It's a very loved character. I would easily grab this card if I can. I'd play this over the regular Shanks just because look how happy this boy is. At 40 bucks, you don't feel bad at playing an Altart Secret Rare. The Shanks cards in general are very, very good in specifically 1 or 2 decks, and could see more play in the future. 10k rush is nothing to joke about, guys. So definitely, I think this is one of the more undervalued cards. If you can pick this up at 40s, 35s, 30s, you're super duper happy. This card is crazy. I do expect it to see it go up in the future. People are starting to think that Shanks isn't a good card. I disagree with that. It is amazing. Its stat line, its value is just incredible. So definitely, if you're able to pick this up, go ahead and pick this up. This is crazy undervalued. Law, 40 bucks. Understandable. Understandable. If you were able to pick this up on release, I think they were releasing this at 30 bucks. Now he's all the way to 40. People are starting to realize that some cards were just a little too under. This at 40 bucks might be a little too high, honestly, in my opinion. Again, you get 2 Altarts per box. As more and more product gets open, more stuff gets out on the market. I see this card in my brain at a $35, $30 range. So if you can pick this up for that range, you're really happy. At 40, you're not too mad if you really want to play your LOL deck. If you want to get this stuff now, it is release weekend, so everything is still up. If you can get this card for, like, again, I'm going to say more realistically, 25 bucks, you're doing good. You're never going to go under on this card. Picking it up at anything higher, you're accepting the risks that this goes up and down. Once again, this is tied to the law deck. If the law deck does good, this card will go up. If the law deck goes bad, we're in for some pain, right? But either way, law is, everyone loves law. That guy is an absolute monster. Supernova card, law pirates. It's so volatile. I do expect this deck to do well, though. Again, not financial advice. I'm going to keep saying that throughout the video, because if you make decisions and it doesn't go well, I don't want it to get blamed to me, but that guy's a monster. The deck is good, in my opinion. If it does poorly, it's because we're bad. So I do think this card to go up. If you want to wait for the first tournament and it to do poorly, if you expect it to do poorly, it will drop, and then you can pick it up then. And then if you're a Chad with the deck, then you can play it in your deck and win the next tournament, right? So I can see this going to 25, but I can also see this go to 50. Luffy, 40 bucks. It is a Luffy. I don't think it's worth 40 bucks. This card is $25 all day. All day. Way too high. Dump this card, guys. It is a good card, but it's not $40 good. As we get access to the promos from playing the store tournaments, we will see a better Luffy join the game, and this one will just fade away into its nothingness. It does have a cool effect. Can't be KO'd by strike cards. If a leader or characters that are just full strike come out in the future, this card will go back up. So I'm just waiting for it to get to 25, maybe picking up a playset and then holding onto it as a collector or for general value into the future. 40 bucks? No way, Jose. This card came out, I believe, at 20-something dollars, and it's jumped all the way up to 40. Like, look at this. He was selling at 25 right here just 2 days ago. No shot this is a $40 card. This card came out, it was 35 bucks. I picked this up for $30 and it just got bought out. This deck is freaking crazy. It is freaky. This deck is a freaky, man. When you play Perona on 1, I swear to God, you feel like a puppet master. You just slam that Perona and you're like, I'm planning the next 4 turns ahead because I know exactly what you're going to play. If they kept their hand and you see Perona, you keep, because you're like, yes, they have their most optimal 1-3-5 or 2-4-6, and you're like, all right, based off your 2-4-6, I'm gonna play my 3-5-7 and I'm gonna beat your 2-4-6. It is so good, man. I played so many games with this deck trying to teach my friends because they're the ones that were interested in blue, and I am becoming more and more of a blue enjoyer. God, I just don't want to play blue because I've played so much blue so far that I want to try some other things and venture away. But this deck is just so disgusting, dude. You feel like Flamingo. You're like the puppet master versus your opponent. At $70, hell yeah. He is up there with the Law and with the Zoro. This card is disgusting. Being at 35 bucks was a disrespect. And if you were able to get that at 35, PogChamp. With that being said, before, I really didn't give any sort of evaluation. Yeah, I can see this card holding that value. I don't think it's going to be doing as well as the Zoro. Well, I think it'll do better than Zoro. I don't think it will do it as good as Law. Meaning that depending on how the tournament results play out, this card either might be an $80 card or a $50 card. Once again, it all depends on the meta. If it looks like no one's playing green right now, and I do think green and purple are just disgusting. I very rarely played against green or purple, and I think that's just like, I think it's just the first week. As people figure out that those decks are disgusting, they'll start playing them more and more, and then Flamingo will have a struggle. But if you're just playing against straight aggro, Law and red in your local scene, you play this guy and you make them suffer. You're just like, hell no, teach, Jinbei, blocker, counter. It's so good, man. It's crazy. Kaido for $32. Yep, this is overvalued. Yeah. No, nothing to say about this. This is a $15 card. $20 card all day. This is not 32 bucks. Although it is an alt-art leader, and the alt-art leaders, you expect them to be expensive, and it is hovering the $30 range. It does not have the results or the power to keep that valuation. This card will... no shot at sees tournament play. No shot. It's a very good color combination. Starting at 4 life, though, is terrible in a best of 1. And if you queue into the regular Kaido, that Kaido is going to slam you. Like, it is unbelievable. There's no way you win that matchup. It is disgusting. My brother, I let him borrow my purple deck. He barely has played the game. Queued into someone that's been practicing this for months and just slammed them. Like, not even close. It's just not, it's just not it, dog. This is a $20 card. I love this card. This is not a $25 card. The only person who will buy this for $25 is me, because I really like him. But he sucks. I'll be real with y'all. This is a $15, $20 card as well. If you can haggle this down a little further, you might be able to get it. I'd pay 15 bucks for this card. I do think this card will go lower and lower, and we expect more pain, as I don't expect this card to do well comparatively to the other colors. Again, all the dual color leaders, as I said in my tier list, will do better over the course of time. I just don't think their tournament results will hold this valuation. He is a Giga Chad version of Crocodile. Just look at these necks, by the way. Sorry. My goodness. But other than that, they really have nothing going for them. They're beautiful cards. They're leaders, so it's really cool that you only need one, but they're just not good enough. And I can see them going lower for that. If they don't go lower because of the fact that there's only 4 leaders per case, that also makes sense. Then we got regular Shanks. 25 bucks. Yeah, at 25 bucks, it can go all the way up to... It can go a little further. It did dip all the way to 15, but I do think that this card is, at 25 bucks, doesn't feel bad. It's a secret. I'd pay 20 bucks for this card all day, but if I'm gonna pay 20 bucks for this card, I might as well just pay 30 for the other one. It's fantastic, though. It looks great. If you want to hold it as a collector, 15, 20 bucks all day. But if you want to play, maybe you can go for the parallel. At this price range, I'm not in any sort of shock to play it. This card is seeing some creep up. It is a beautiful card. I've seen it go from 30 to 20, now back to 30. I do think this card will hover around 30. At the end of the day, it is a 9-drop with a fantastic effect, but it has no combo power. This is not a 4 of in your deck. And once again, it is not really tied to the Flamingo deck. You might want to play like 1 or 2 of this in the top end. Again, depending on how much green you're seeing, you're going to need differing values of this card. But if you're seeing a lot of green, then he's better. If you're seeing a lot of aggro, he's worse. It's big tough, man. And this weekend, it was all aggro. So if that continues to be the status quo, he will just be worse and worse. But as green and purple, like I'm foretelling, will become better, he just becomes an absolute powerhouse. 9-drop, 9k, bottom deck of 7. All right, brother. Kaido. This card was 15 bucks, man. I picked up 2 of them for 15, and now he jumped up to 60. Now he's back to 42. People are trying to dump him. This is a $50 card all day. This card is insane. Right now, I still think he's undervalued. One of the best alt-arts in the game. He looks beautiful. He's a staple in almost all purple decks, going anywhere from 3 to 4 in your deck. 2 to 4, I guess, is more reasonable. But he is amazing. Anytime you drop this card on your opponent, you just chum block with all your weenie blockers. You make them commit to the board and you just slam this Kaido and you have a 12k. If you have Onigashima on the board, you can just ramp up right back to 7, and it's just you don't really feel bad playing this card. And there's no shot this is ever dying at 12k, and no way this is ever getting like defended. This card just gets in there. 42 bucks isn't terrible. 35 you can get them right now is good, but I do think this card can go higher than that. 35 on Sanji. Yeah, Sanji dipped to 15. It was crazy on this weekend, bro. It was insane. 15 to 30. So now he's 35 bucks. Main character energy. I can see this card maintaining a $25 to $30 range. It is a 2k counter with a really good aggressive effect, but we do get just really good 2k counters in the future. I don't know if this card will maintain value. So if you just want to hold it for collection purposes, 25 all day. If you want to play it in your deck, I don't think you shouldn't necessarily, but this card I can see some pain on this card. This card can go down in the near future. As you just get access to better cards. But as a card, as the artwork, as the Pirates and the Straw Hat Crew and all that stuff, I can't see it holding such a nice valuation. Criminally undervalued at $27. This is... If Kaido's 50, this card is like 45, 50. For whatever reason, they made a mistake on the wording of this card. Other than the character used as Captain Kid, other than the wording, like this card is insane. This card is absolutely insane. Bandai did make a printing error on this card, and there's an errata on their website. I do hear from some judges that even if this card is rested, you can hit the leader. That's just not how it works in Japan. That's just not how it should work in the United States or in the NA format, or I guess the West is what I'm trying to get at. So therefore, this card should not hold this evaluation. It should be going up and up and up. At $27, I don't even feel bad picking it up at this price. I can see this card going from 35 to 40 bucks at any point in time. After just one tournament winnings, this card will shoot. This green deck is an absolute monster. This blocker, man. This blocker. I had told my brother to pick him up because he was very excited about playing the blue deck. Picked him up for 15s, and now he's all the way up to $40. Big buyout. There isn't even more than one page of this card out, and it goes anywhere from 40 straight up to 50 in like 10 cells. Do I think it'll hold that value? Maybe not. I can see him as a $35 to $40 card. If Flamingo is expected to do as well as he's doing, this card is just going to keep shooting up. The blue deck is an absolute monster, and I can see it going for those price points. It's very, very good. But I'm okay paying 30, 35 bucks for this card. Anything more seems a little bit risky, you could see some pain with this card. But at 30 bucks, I don't think you'll ever lose money on this card. This card was $6. This card touched $6. What a criminal event. Now at 22 bucks, I think it's more reasonable. This is a 1 to 2 of in your deck. If there is more aggro in your scene, you want to up your count on this card, as this card single-handedly slam jams the Law deck in combination with Big Chungus Kaido. So at 20 bucks, I don't feel bad. If you get it for 15, I think you're in a safe zone. I don't think you'll see any risk at 15, but anything above 15, you might see again some pain with the second wave. Very, very good card. I was fortunate enough to be able to pick up 2 for $6. That was lit. Perona hovering $20. Once again, I cannot express how unbelievably unbalanced this card is in the Flamingo deck. It is a box topper, so it's either Perona or bust. It feels like all the other box toppers really did take a dip, but I want to highlight Perona as it is hovering over the highest valuation. I think at $12, you can't go wrong. Anything above that, you can feel some pain, but even 15 might be fair enough for this card because it's just stunning, and it is a necessity in your blue decks. I see it becoming a mono blue staple for a good amount of time, as it just allows you early game knowledge that you don't get with any other card. Even though it's not a searcher, it is a pseudo searcher because it gives you too much information. You definitely play 4 of this as a 1k, 1 drop 2k, 1k counter. I can't hype this card up anymore, but I have been seeing it take some pain already as it jumps from the $25 range. Look at this. This guy's a pro. Getting 5 of them for 10 bucks, you absolute Chad. Immediately buys it out, pushes it to 25 bucks, and then it's been seeing pretty stable prices in from the $20 to $25 range. This is the first time we see it at anything below 20 bucks. So I can't see it going down to 15, but nothing less than that. Maybe down, again, like I said, 12, you're at a fair range. Anything above that, volatility is up to you. Zoro, 25 bucks. Yeah, this card's disgusting. If you're playing the red deck, you're playing the Law deck, you need 4 of this card. So people can just, it's an SR, you're getting A couple of these per box. So a box that is worth 140 bucks will give you maybe one of this. So therefore, I can see its value staying at that point, but this might see some pain once again. This card is being extremely volatile, going from unreleased. Look at this. Look at this card. Look at all these sales. I'm just gonna keep loading, guys, because since this is the last card we're talking about, I just want to go all the way back. Like, look at this, man. I've seen people buy this card from $8, and I've seen it just jump all the way up to $20, and I think it's just gonna go up and up and up. This is almost completely bought out because everyone needs this card. But as more and more people start posting them on the market, I don't want to give you bad information, but I think maybe 15 bucks is a very fair for this card. Again, anything above 15 bucks, you're accepting any sort of risk. At 15 bucks, At 15 bucks, I think you're at a fair amount of, like, you're okay. I don't think you'll go very much under. It might go see the 13s at its lowest, but this card is disgusting. And as more and more people need this card to play competitively, it will hold those specific values. So thank you guys for joining the watch, and I'll see you guys next week.